you are. Running a little bit late today. It's a couple days before Christmas. There was lots of running around I had to do.
Same here. I didn't have to. I don't have to work this week, so I can do all my shit in the morning.
I was off today. Spent most of the day cleaning and getting ready to bring home the new addition to the family. I bought my kids a puppy. I bought another kid.
Yeah, right. You'll regret that one. You'll regret that one later.
Yeah, I bought another kid, guys. It's okay.
Except this kid listens when you tell it to come.
I don't want to get into that right now because my youngest has been an absolute little terror today. She did not listen at all.
Dude,
like
just
almost to the point where she ran out and in the parking lot and almost got hit by a car.
Yikes.
Yeah, Daddy was pissed.
I believe it. So now you have to get the dog to teach them how to scoot across the living room on their butts.
I hate you.
That was not my proudest moment. Well, I'm lying. It's way higher up than it has any right to ever be.
That checks out.
Here, come do what I'm doing. Scoot across the living room floor on your butt. Making like sounds the whole time. Yeah.
God. What the hell is wrong with you?
It's almost like mothers don't like you doing that to their children. So we got a bunch of stuff going on in the Star Wars world. I don't think any of us have seen Episode 9 yet.
No. Not me.
No, I'm hopefully going to see it next week, but I'm probably shooting for after the new year at this point. Too much stuff going on. When are you guys planning to go, or do you have plans?
I'm making plans to go the 26th, the day after Christmas.
Boxing Day.
Yep.
No immediate plans, so it'll probably be a couple months if I don't just wait till it comes out on video.
Yeah, your time is a lot more monopolized by children because your children actually have stuff that they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of sad.
Plus, I actually, like Kyle, I actually have to work at work. So.
God damn it!
Got him.
That's fair.
Oh.
I guess not everyone gets 3 weeks off.
No, we don't.
To be fair, I have paid vacation that expires, so I took that.
Oh, that's good.
That was like 3 days of that. That wouldn't roll over. And then I get 2 weeks off over, like, Christmas and New Year's.
I guess I'm kind of lucky. I don't get, or my paid time off does not expire.
Oh, that's nice. So it rolls over?
Yep. Just keeps on building.
Yeah, mine caps.
I remember having a real job once.
But then you get paid out at the end of every year for everything that's over the cap.
Yeah, we were talking about this at work the other day. Last couple of years, we've had quite a few people retire from our company. And so they had so much paid time off built up that basically the limit that they'll pay out is 250 hours. And they had so much paid time off built up that they got that 250 hour payout, but then they still drew an actual paycheck for
go to sleep.
I don't know,
you don't need milk.
3 or 4 months afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, no shade to my dad, but my dad had like 400 hours that he took. And while he took those sick days, or while he took that PTO, he accrued more PTO. Right? Like, he had like 400 hours. He had like 5 months of PTO. And then that was like another month and a half of PTO. So after he retired, he got like 6.5 months worth of pay for, surfing the internet and working on the house.
I mean, we build up sick time. We get sick time as well. So, like, even though we get the PTO, we have sick time, so we can use that for when we're sick. and not use our PTO.
Nice. Yeah, we
Oh.
just at the end of the year they'd pay me 70% of what my PTO was worth, or I could just take the day off. And I figured I'd just take the days off.
Dog's getting rowdy in the other room.
Well, is it? Well, we don't know. We don't know which kid. It sounds like the dog.
No, it's the dog. It's our big German Shepherd mix.
Oh, I thought that might be Kyle's dog.
No, that was ours.
Okay. No, you have 3 now, right?
Yeah, 3. One's a gigantic Shepherd mix. He's black with a little bit of white on him. We got a yellow lab and another one. I think my wife said he had some blue heeler in him. I don't know, but
No idea.
he's maybe 6 months old now. So
You had puppy problems with him, didn't you? You had to like house train him or something.
Yeah, he's actually been doing good for about a month now. So
Awesome.
yeah, he hadn't really had any accidents in the house unless somebody just doesn't take him out. But the good thing of it is our German Shepherd dog mix. Like, I don't know if he's got a thimble-sized bladder or what, but he wants to go outside constantly. So the puppy goes out with him. So it kind of solves that problem too.
Yeah. We have 2 cats, but I'd show them to you if they wouldn't kill me for picking them up. They don't like being picked up or cuddled. Yeah, we have 2 cats here. One's fat and one's little, and they both hate people.
Why you gotta
Which
call
is
me
great when
fat,
they're-
bro?
Which is great when there are kids around, right? Both cats hate children. Yeah. We talked about that with the 2-year-old. About the cat just like, rah!
Yeah, my son, I don't know, when he was like 4 or 5 or something, we were over at my sister's, and they've got a couple of cats, and one of them isn't really a people person, but he'll let you pet him. But I mean, my son wasn't doing anything. This cat just got pissed off, and my son reached his hand out, and the cat just went rah and like sliced him like right here on the lip.
Yikes.
It was just like you took a surgical scalpel and cut his lip. It was such a clean cut.
Huh.
So we just mashed it back together and put a Band-Aid on it, and it healed up, and you can barely see the line from the scar. So
Oh, I mean, like these cats, they'll let you pet them like passively as they're walking past,
yeah,
and they'll let you do like behind the ear scratching, and they like the. But other than that, like you can pet them on their time, right? Like they're walking through the room, you can pet them as they're walking past. They're not gonna stand still for you to like, good kitty. Nope.
All right.
So, and I'm correct in you said you hadn't watched this chapter 7 of The Mandalorian for Guy?
no, not yet. I'll probably watch it this weekend.
Okay. But you also said you didn't care if we talked about it, right?
No, spoilers do not matter.
we talked about this, like but I liked the episode a lot. They killed the Ugnaught, so don't worry, probably not coming to the game.
Rip.
No Ugnaught squad. Got you.
Yep. And then I forget the guy's name who plays the bad guy at the end. But have you watched Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
He's the Puerto Rican guy, I think he is, who owns the restaurants.
Oh yeah, the Polo Loco dude.
Yeah. Yep. That
Okay.
guy. That guy's the Moth at the end
Gotcha.
of the movie.
Awesome.
Moff
So
Gideon.
that guy, Moff Gideon. He's the big bad, if you will. And we got to see Death Troopers and
I know the first time we've seen Death Troopers outside of
Rogue One. And
Rogue
they were
One.
only Krennic's guards then. They only were loyal to Krennic at that time. So this is the first time we've seen Death Troopers that are like somewhere else. Other than like Scarif / around Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's always amazed me how the troopers die so easily. I got to looking into like their armor and everything. Basically, they're just wearing plastic. It's not any kind of armor whatsoever. It's just plastic uniform. Might as well be
I
a
thought
Halloween costume. Oh,
it was. Isn't it laminate? But
it's
that is like a plastic, right? Like
they call it plastoid or whatever.
Yeah, it's
okay,
So
plastoid. It provides minimal, like if you get a
it
glancing
has
shot, it'll like deflect, but like a direct shot will not deflect.
it had one thing I read. It talked about it had some sort of ingredient in the mixture uh, that was supposed to sort of like make the armor burn up to absorb the energy.
Yeah.
But as you can see, most direct strikes just go straight through it.
yeah, it's really weird. I mean, like there's a joke here about plot armor, right? But it's kind of weird because you think that like these soldiers, this infantry would have like something that might deflect a blaster bolt,
Right.
like maybe enough integrity to withstand the first, but if a second one hits in the same spot, it'll go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like
Giancarlo Esposito. That's his name.
that guy. Although I think that's pronounced Giancarlo, but
Whatever.
I mean like that's yeah. I like that guy a lot. I also like is it Werner? The
Werner
guy who played
Herzog.
Werner Herzog. Is that it? Werner? Yeah. He's also very good. I've been a huge fan of the casting.
Yes. They have really done, like, even Nick Nolte as the Ugnaught. That's
Yeah.
he's got the like wavering in his voice. I like it. The casting has been spot on, and God forbid, if anybody hates on Gina Carano right now, I will ban you. I love her.
We were talking about that today, man. And don't get me wrong, she's already she's a beautiful woman to begin with. But to me, like being in Star Wars, like takes you from being like an 8 to a 9, just for being in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But no, like, and it's not even like her casting too. It's like there've been some cool cameos, like Bill Burr. Dude, Dave Filoni was in an X-wing. That was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw some meme about
I was like, one of them
the
looked familiar.
origins of the Boston accent, and it had a picture of Bill Burr, and it was like, "Hey, yeah, kid." It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I also liked. This is just a small thing. I like seeing live action renditions of aliens that we have predominantly seen in animated series, like Twi'leks, how do you pronounce it? So in Chapter 6, we got to see a male and a female Twi'lek,
Yeah.
like live action, and I think that's really cool when they start showing you because we had one in the original trilogy, I believe, in Jabba's palace, but like that was just kind of a side character that had
Well,
like
Bib
a couple.
Fortuna is a Twi'lek. He's a different
Is he? Okay.
different type of Twi'lek.
Sure, I'm just saying I like when they do it in today's era because the visual effects are so stunning. I'm not trying to like bash on the original trilogy, but there's a reason they remastered.
Yeah.
Right? Like
you're not lying.
but I really like that they've been doing that a lot too. Like the alien in Chapter 1, he was pretty solid too. The Ugnaught's getting like more than just like a little bit of fan service from what was the Return of the Jedi? We got to see Ugnaughts. We saw them around the carbonite chamber, but they were like in the background, kind of.
I think so.
I think there were some Ugnaughts there, but again, like there's an Ugnaught in Swooga. We know Ugnaughts exist because Hondo had a pet. I shouldn't say a pet. Had a
indentured
forced
servant.
associate. Forced associate. So yeah, I think it's cool that they're putting a lot of these different genomes, lack of a better way to phrase that, into Mandalorian. I think it's cool that we're getting like a broader look at the world. We also get to see an Embo. I forget what kind of person he is. We also get to see an Embo in one of the Chapter 4, I think. So
Well, and there's a Weequay, which is for what you guys, if you guys don't know, that's what Hondo is.
Yeah.
Imbo is a Cayuzo.
Cayuza.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched the Clone Wars. Although I assume that was Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just got done listening to a book. No, it was I finished the Aftermath series,
Okay.
and Dengar, Imbo, and a couple others, I can't think of them right now, were sort of bit characters in the second and third books of the Aftermath trilogy. They
That actually, now you said that, he has Way of the Kazuto in his kit.
Oh yeah, he does.
So
Yeah. Oops.
but I've been a huge fan of The Mandalorian with the callbacks and the fan service.
I love. Excuse me. That Dave Filoni and Favreau have been tying not only the original trilogy, but also um, the Clone Wars and a little bit of Rebels and stuff in there. I don't think you could have really picked um, better directors.
Yeah.
Um,
Another.
they're
Sorry, go ahead.
they're they play. I mean, look what Favreau did with Iron Man. Look what Filoni did with just everything he's touched.
Yeah. One cool thing too is they did say that the Mandalorian is going to have themes that are relevant in Episode 9, and one of the recurring themes that they've had in Episode 9, and I know Fruga and I talked about this earlier about my frustration with the trope, but the guy when he turns over Baby Yoda to Herzog, his compatriot has the Kaminoan clone insignia on his uniform.
Yep.
A cloner. And then Squia, whatever. You have the Ugnaught who talks about he worked with the cloners, who worked with the Empire, who were trying to clone stuff. So, and he said that Baby Yoda wasn't a clone.
Yeah.
So one of the themes of the Mandalorian is that they are reaffirming that cloning exists, and I think the Baby Yoda thing, along with Giancarlo's character, Moff Gideon, I think some of that might have to do with Episode 9, some of the Force stuff, some of what the Empire was up to. Because, well, this is after the Empire, so we might be seeing the beginning or like some of the first association
This is
with the
the
First Order.
New Republic.
No, this is not New Republic because that is a separate entity.
No. That's what they refer to it in. That's why I did air quotes. That's what they refer to in the actual show.
Yeah. No, they don't refer to them as the New Republic. They're former Empire. The New Republic is another entity that you can go to. But like Herzog wasn't part of. Anyways, moving on past the Mandalorian in Episode 9, we're not scheduled to get another movie till I think 2022. So that's 3 years away now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in the meantime? What do you think is going to carry the Star Wars torch? We're supposed to get a Cassian show later next year. I think towards the late spring. Clone Wars is having their final season.
Yeah. Clone
and
Wars.
Obi-Wan next summer.
Obi-Wan. The Cassian show. But there's supposed to be. I think they're making more of Resistance as well.
Yeah, there's a second season. But I think that they just had that mostly done, so they're just finishing it up. It kind of fell flat.
Yeah,
But what are your thoughts, Fru? Do you have any thoughts on where you think Star Wars is going to go from here?
They're going to probably lean heavily on the Obi-Wan show,
Yeah.
and the Cassian. So, I mean, they have their Disney has their streaming platform out now. So, it's really just all about what they think then will do well there.
Well, another thing is, what do you want to see from Disney with no movies? Do you want to see them expand and make more TV shows, or do you want to see them like make what do you want to see from Star Wars over the next 3 years? Like books, comics.
Well, I've always been a big fan of the Legends books.
Yep.
And basically, Legends took the end after Return of the Jedi and just ran with it. And you had Han and Leia have 3 kids. Luke
Jaina.
redid the Jedi. Of course, now none of that's ever going to happen. But I'd like them. I'd like to see more expansion of the main character line of Star Wars, or like take something. Because there was always a threat in the Legends books in all those novels. It seemed like there was basically every 5 years there was some threat to the New Republic that would need something like a Jedi to fight, or the Jedi would have to come together. They'd have to, the New Republic would have to take on, or the galaxy would have to come together and beat like the Yuzon Vong. They were an extra galactic species that was not that did not use the Force, didn't feel the Force. Nobody. A lot of them were not necessarily immune to the Force, but they didn't really. It didn't. When it was tried to use against them, it would barely affect them.
Yeah, I think the EU did a great job of creating a large group of different enemies of differing levels of importance, where some of them were global conflicts, some of them or galactic conflicts, some of them were local conflicts, and some of them were individual conflicts. Because I know I don't remember all the ins and outs of it, but I know like one of the Solo kids or one of Luke's kids went dark.
They had a set of fraternal twins, a boy and a girl.
Jason and Jaina.
Jason
and Jaina or whatever.
And the third one was named Anakin. He died fighting the Yuzon Vong, sacrificed himself or something. Don't remember that. The specifics
I just really liked how they had differing versions of conflict. Like I said, some of them were more personal, some of them were like planetary, some of them were like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think they did a great job of like creating, like, the thing that made me fall in love with Star Wars was the Master and Apprentice series with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. And then you had the Teen Jedi books where Luke was rebuilding the Jedi Order. We talked about that earlier today a little bit.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the expanded universe, especially reading the series of books, not specifically the standalone novels. I think Fru Guy and I talked about this. He liked reading more of the standalone novels a little bit more, I think.
Well, they did a bunch of trilogy sets. So it wasn't just a standalone book about something. They'd have 2 or 3 books about this conflict, and then later on, like when we were talking about Jason went to the dark side or whatever.
Yeah.
That series, there's a couple of sets of books that were between 7 and 10 novels long that covered those conflicts.
Yeah.
And would actually cover more than just a few months. It'd actually be 4 or 5 or 6 years of time
Yeah.
that these conflicts went on.
And
So
those are the kind of
we
things I
also have
like
to
reading.
remember the the Weiss Bros got their trilogy coming out soon. TM.
No, the Game of Thrones guys,
Yeah.
they dropped.
No,
Did
they
they?
got dropped from that. Yeah.
They dropped.
Well, that sucks.
I don't know who dropped them, but they got dropped. They were the ones who were supposed to have the movies coming out, which means the next one we're looking at is Ruin Johnson's movie in 2022. So
Great.
looks like the Old Republic got scrapped
Well,
for now.
Because that was
Yeah.
actually one thing I was looking forward to. I've been
I was
reading
looking for-
a
yeah.
lot of the Old Republic stuff, and man,
I was a young warthog when KOTOR was out. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the next scheduled movies are 2022, 2024, and 2026.
Yep. So we have 3 years of TV shows that we maybe some books that kind of have to carry for a few years if they want to keep the Star Wars universe relevant.
Well, from what I heard, Timothy Zahn has another book coming out.
Yes.
I
But
think
that's scheduled
late next year.
2021?
I
Yeah,
think
I thought that was like 20.
late
thought it was
next
like
year
early-
or early 2021.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's another Thrawn book, so you can't. I mean, talk about amazing novels.
I think we're gonna get a couple of spin-offs from Episode 9. From what I understand, and this isn't the spoiler thing, but this was said by the critics or some of the people who got like the pre-screening like a week ago. They said it was a very busy movie with lots of characters. So if that is the case, we could see some. I think we're going to see a couple spin-offs from this movie, similar to how Marvel has the Loki show and then like the Scarlet Witch show.
They have a whole bunch of shows coming out. Yeah, WandaVision.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like they have spin-offs based off popular characters. And I think that there's a fair chance we see some of that from Episode 9 if they sell us a good enough character. You know? Like, for example, maybe Poe gets his own TV show.
That would be interesting. Actually,
I mean, I love Oscar Isaacs personally. I loved his character from Episode 7 and the comics.
You know, I'm probably going to get crucified for saying this, but I kind of enjoyed the prank call scene.
All right, we can just ban it now. No one talks to Bill Weasley that way. No one.
It was enjoyable. It was a little unneeded, but it added a little bit of humor to it, especially considering.
My Star Wars didn't need humor.
Well, they did. I was looking here, and they did say that Rian Johnson has had some sort of plans for a Star Wars trilogy of movies, and that they were also bringing in Kevin Feige from Marvel.
That's right, Kevin Feige was
supposed
to do at least one movie or so.
I like Feige. I trust Feige.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to have him sort of helming.
He would be the person that you would want to for the Easter eggs. He's good at placing those little things like he has done in the MCU.
Yeah, him at the helm would be good for the Star Wars future.
Rian Johnson.
Also, honestly, like Johnson, that movie felt like a 12-year-old wrote a fan fiction. That's how I interpreted Episode 8. I'm just being honest. Like it felt like some little kid wrote what he wanted Star Wars to be.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's what Rian Johnson wanted, not what we wanted. And they gave him creative control, so he got to make what he wanted. I hope that he takes a different approach in his new content. Please.
New content.
Well, no, but he said in an interview that he didn't believe that fan service was necessary. And my response to him is, Have you watched Star Wars? It's all fan service.
Yeah.
Well, he made a comment on he didn't think fan service was necessary to create a good movie. And it's like, but Star Wars is just all fan service.
Yeah, like
Because you need to connect everyone who liked different trilogies. Like the original trilogy, you needed to have cameos and fan service and stuff like that in the prequels to get those people. You
you had to tie in things from the original trilogy into the prequels, so you're like, you get the OGs. Oh, hey, back in my day, I remember this guy in this movie.
Yeah, like Luke's cabin in Episode 8 had a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, the
like Revan's helmet or his face mask.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say someone's face mask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that makes Revan canon, but like that is Revan's face mask. Whether they want to, they said it's a Mandalorian war face mask. Okay. Bloodfree.
We're gonna have to switch over
books,
here soon.
The books were a sort of throwback to the novels about how the Force came up, with being on Tython and whatnot. So,
So let's just move it to Discord then, since it's
Yeah, we got a minute or 2 minutes left. So give me one quick moment. We're gonna switch over to Discord voice. So just hang on one quick second. And we are back. So, what was I wanting to do? Pull that up. And put this back up. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see what Star Wars is gonna do to try to milk us for money. There is supposed to be another Battlefront video game coming out soon as well. I don't believe there was an official timeline, but it's supposed to be next-gen console, which will be launching next year holiday season.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how they're going to progress the Star Wars brand moving forward, seeing as their current brand manager and marketing team aren't very good at their job. For lack of a better way to phrase that, I feel like they haven't done much with what they've had, and they've had a lot of like great ways to not necessarily monetize, but grow the brand.
Right.
So, and anyways, we can kind of transition it over to Swugga for a bit. How'd you guys do in Grand
Swugga?
Arena?
What's Swugga?
That thing that we stream on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, DPK.
Are you sure? I don't remember. I'm confused at what you're referring to. I know nothing. Call me Jon Snow.
Clear. I've watched you play.
I mean, I'm fighting for first place. The guy I'm facing, his character page says 4.6, but his profile page and his DSR bot pegs him at 5.2. This guy, he's got 30 more Gear 12s than I do. I have more Gear 13s and Gear 11s, but he 77 Gear 12s versus 47. I don't know how I got faced up against this guy, but yeah, I did.
You have more Gear 11s though, right?
Yeah, which I mean,
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, but I think 3 of them don't count in this GA. One's I believe one's Shock T, and she's at Gear 9 for the GA. So
Yeah, I'm dealing with that with my Malik myself. I think we talked about that. My
yeah,
Malik was Gear 12 plus 4, I think, going into this GAC, and like I was short like a Mark 5 droid collar for his finisher piece, and I think I was short like the stun gun I was short one of his Gear 12 plus pieces too, either
Oh,
the
yeah,
stun
yeah.
gun or the Carbonti. And like after GA lock, it popped up in I think it was the gun popped up in the shard shop. I was able to buy that from there and through the guild store. So I was able to finish off that piece. And then we got Mark 5 droid collars from Pitt that night. So basically, I took him to Gear 13 the night after GAC lock.
Because he kept trying to open it, and then it would close, and he'd try to open it again, and it would close. And See? Larry's trying it again. It keeps closing. There you go, Bobby.
Hi, buddy.
How are you doing this GA Fruit Guy, and what are your experiences so far? You have not been streaming with us, so kind of tell everybody what you've been up to.
Well, it's actually gone pretty well. Let me get over to my game. On my main account, I'm up for the weekly champion for this first week. I actually, for the first time in a really long time, I kind of outweigh my opponent. Just looking at it, I've got 50 Zetas. My opponent's only got 39. I've got 31 Gear 11s to his 18, 38 Gear 12s to his 28. I've got 2 Gear 13s. He's got 4. Mods I slightly outpace him. 151 plus 10 is to 137. But the main thing is, in this title match, he does not have Darth Revan. He does not have Malik. He does not have Treya. And there's somebody else.
So he's a baby whale.
Yeah. He's got a Relic 6 Han, a Relic 4 Chewie, and CLS in Arena. He's invested heavily into ships from his roster because he has a Relic 4 Akbar, a Relic 4 Bosk as well, and Gear 12 Hera, Gear 12 Ezra, and the Geo ships pilots are all Gear 12. So, and so's Throne. So I imagine he was using those before he got the Falcon. So yeah, he's definitely more ship balanced than he is tunes, because once you get past those ships, all this stuff kind of drops off pretty quick. According to looking at his stats, it says his ship's power is 1.95 million and his character power is 1.91. So yep, he's definitely more a ship person.
But if you can just wall off your ships, you win.
Yeah, I think I've placed a pretty good defense that he probably won't get to him.
I was gonna say, with lack of Treya, you should be.
I was say if you just put Geos, Jedi Revan, and Darth Revan in front of your ships, you probably just walk all over.
And I was gonna say, and Night Sisters.
Sure, but then you just put a trash fleet down and you just like wall them off from your fleet. You
Yeah.
checkmate him in front of your fleet, put like Mace plus the bottom 7 ships in your roster on defense, or whatever you want to do, and then you just save your best fleet for offense.
Yeah, I put my geos in a team that I had a problem with, which was Newt, Hoggle,
Newt.
and Spy.
Okay.
Now
Newt
they aren't
is
quite up to snuff yet in terms of gear. They're a little low geared, but I figure they'll give him an issue if he doesn't put a ton on just to try to clear me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I will say, Newt is actually a 3v3, very very annoying 3v3 squad to deal with, because you only have 3 turns to pay your taxes, and by the time you get back around, you're paying taxes again, because you don't want his speed going crazy. It can be annoying.
Yeah, Newt is super underrated 3v3.
Yeah, I was gonna say Urza had an issue the other night with a Newt squad. It was he got really frustrated.
Yeah. I did end up winning. My opponent, bless his heart, started 20 minutes before reset and was not able to full clear me in that time. But he was gonna win. So bless his heart. The better man did prevail, thankfully.
Good job.
Kyle, you won, I think?
I did win. I checkmated my opponent in front of my fleets. He tried to get through my Relic 7 Grievous. He was going good. I was actually watching him take out teams. He was actually really efficient too. He hit Grievous and it stopped right there. It would have been like probably if he didn't stumble on Grievous, he probably would have stumbled on my ships. Or would have had to double hit ships. So I checkmated him either way, because I put Millennium Falcon on defense and he saved his Falcon and Negotiator for offense. So, guy messaged me. He's like, "Good job. Your Relic 7 Grievous hits like a freaking freight train." So.
yeah,
So
that's
what are
one
some-
thing. I've never really had an opponent message me. I've messaged my opponents, but never have I been had contact initiated by my opponent.
Yeah, I usually try to message my opponents. I messaged him. I was like, "Good luck." He said, "Good luck." He gave me a heads up. He's like, "I set pretty soft defenses so I can be more efficient. So have fun." I did just that. I was really efficient last night. I think I only left maybe 10 banners on the field. Maybe 12. And he left the chat. Then, like, probably an hour after I attacked, he resent me a message saying, "Dude, GG, killed me." So that was nice to see.
Yeah. I have not been reaching out to my opponents in 3v3. I did in 5v5. I have no desire to interact with my opponents in 3v3 because it's kind of a shit show. That being said, I think that there's a fair amount of takeaways that I already have from 3v3. Number one, they shouldn't have brought it back. Malik is still the best character in the game in 3v3.
Yeah.
Even at 6 stars.
Huh?
Said even at 6 stars.
Yeah.
Like he's just. I don't want to say busted because that implies that he broke rules in the game, and he doesn't really break any of the rules of the game. He just like He's Nest, except with a better tag.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, he's not quite the same, but like the concept is the same, where he just has so much survivability built into his kit, and so much like just middle finger built into his kit. It's just very frustrating that there's a character that exists that is just that obnoxious in 3v3. A couple other takeaways. Speed is less important. I didn't say not important. I mean less.
Yeah.
Turn meter and abilities like newts that increase your speed and decrease theirs tend to get you far more traction in 3v3 because I feel like each individual character takes more turns in 3v3. Which means any turn meter manipulation is super important. Characters like First Order Officer better. Makes characters like Thrawn better.
Yeah.
Not for the fracture, for the turn meter swaps. It allows you to get back to characters' ults faster. I think that people get pigeonholed into saying, I need a leader, and the truth is you don't. One of the better defenses I've seen, and I'm not saying it's the best or anything like that, but it's been like Mission Zalbar L3 or Mission Zalbar Vander Chewbacca. You know, like you don't need a leader for that team. That team is just filthy by itself.
Yeah.
So and then the third takeaway is that undersized feed is a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you
It
can't
sure
do it.
is.
I'm not saying you can't do it, but holy shit, is that hard?
It
I mean,
really
as
is.
somebody who does a pretty dadgum good job of undersizing people in 5v5 GAs, it's damn near impossible.
I've gotten 4 total in 2 rounds.
Yeah,
And I'm not.
I think. I mean, I'm pretty damn good at undersizing when I can, and I'm at 3 of 5.
Yep, I'm at 4 of 5.
I probably
got
could have.
one.
I probably could have. I probably could have
To be
done
fair-
more last night. I just some of the teams
I
I was
think-
facing, I hadn't faced. I've never faced, and I didn't
I
want to.
think two of my 4 shorthandeds were cleanup, and one was a Malik 1v3 versus Karth.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The other one was. But that's... Oh, no, I took Django in. But anyways, going forward, like, I know in 5v5 I talked with you about this, where I just let the undersize happen organically,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to randomly try to get an undersize and then just get, like, my doors blown off because they kill Major Tom and now it's 5-on-3.
Right.
Because, crap like that happens in 5v5. The other thing I noticed in 3v3, the final takeaway from me is that the 5v5 factions are trash. Ewoks, troopers, they're not good. The reason the troopers are good is that they kill one guy and then they get another turn and then they kill that. They just
my
snowball so
troopers
fast.
proved you wrong last night.
I mean, that's cool.
No, I'm sorry. It was against
I'm just
Gear,
saying, like,
Gear 7 or Gear 8.
Yeah.
Trey.
But what I mean is, like, the reason these synergy teams work in 5v5 is because the entire team, like Ewoks, for example, they just boat race you. They have so much turn meter. When you only have 3 feeding turn meter, like, do you take out Paplu? Because that's the tank. Do you take out Logray is the one you can take out pretty easily. But do you take out Wicket? Well, now you can't kill anybody. Do you take out Elder? Well, there goes your revive and your train.
Yeah.
Too many of these teams
They're
require so many
another
pieces. Yeah, Padme's another team. There's just a lot of teams that you don't really realize it till you start playing that kind of just have a team. And that team's not good in 3v3. And I'm not trying to say that these characters aren't good. It's just the Padme, GK, Anakin, Ahsoka team is 4, not 3. So I think that there's a little bit of that we need to. Well, I say we. I mean, like, I need to relearn 3v3 as well, because the other thing is too. The last time we did 3v3, I didn't have to full clear my opponent. I just had to win. And GAC has changed the way you evaluate Grand Arena if you're trying to make things like Kyber.
Yeah.
And banners and feats. Feats are stupid. Those are my takeaways. Do any of you have any additional takeaways to add?
I do. 3v3, like you were saying, doing the undersized squads is actually a lot harder in 3v3 than it is 5v5. It sucks for teams like the Ewoks, where you've put your resources into, and you just can't really use them. I mean, I have Gear 11 plus Ewoks, and I can't use them in 3v3 because you need at least a fourth character to keep the Bears turn meter rolling. Just keep going. The Imperial Troopers, the best route I can say you can go is going Veers, Stark, and Snow.
I think you want range. 10 out of 10 want range. He gives you
Oh wait, no, I did.
retribution.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did put range in last night. That's right. You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't put Stark.
No, I put that on defense. I put Stark, range, and like again. I just wanted to take off a few banners. I don't care
Yeah.
if it dies. I won't be using it on offense, and if it takes like 2 banners off my opponent, it did its job.
Right. But GAC, GAC's made Grand Arena a whole different ball game. You have to be mindful of your opponent, what your opponent's going to do, what, like Grand Arena, you just had fun. We were in it for the end of the week rewards, which were some pretty sweet gear most of the time. Some Omegas and Zetas. Grand Arena, you've got to be subconscious of trying to get Kyber, trying to make those division titles, feats. Like what a couple of the feats. There's one in there. You got to kill so many characters with veteran Han and Chewie. I'm sorry, but not everybody has Gear 12 vets. It seemed like a silly thing to put in there. I get this is supposed to be resistance based because of the movie, but like you couldn't have picked 2 better characters?
They don't even have the resistance tag. Don't forget.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. They're not resistance. They're smugglers. My bad.
Yeah, and put a little asterisk in there that, and replace that with hardly nobody has Gear 12 vet Han and Chewie.
They just don't hit hard.
I will say what I said earlier on the voice chat. I might have said it yesterday. Man, them making me have to kill people with the vets is almost enough to make me take mods off my vets.
Right.
Right? Like, just admit that I'm never going to use them again. Like, that feat almost just makes me realize I'm never going to use them again, and that I should just take their mods off.
Yeah. Checks out, man.
I'm not saying their mods are good. I'm just saying that I should just take them off at this point.
I mean, all we threw on there was a little bit of survivability.
No, that's not true. I had like offense sets on mine.
Oh, did you?
I remodded. I had to put good. I don't want to say good. I had to actually put like the Chewbacca Finn one back in the day was really hard before the Finn rework.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to actually like do a little bit of work with rebonding, but
And
no,
again, that goes the Fin Zeta being useless in those because they don't have the resistance tag and they don't have exposed synergy. So
Well, my main takeaway is it's just kind of a big middle finger to all the players, because if they're going to start rotating 3v3 in regularly, that means you're just going to have to go for certain characters and forget others, which makes Grand Arena not a fun game mode for uh, a wide section of the player base.
yeah,
yeah, I mean, for those of us who have known each other for a long time, we remember talking about gearing up more tanks for 3v3. I remember we just talked about this today. I took Stormtrooper Han, and Leia all up to gear 11 back in the day for 3v3.
yeah, just to have more tanks.
Yeah, well, that so Leia did more damage. Leia was like gear 9. But yeah, I needed to gear up more tanks for 3v3. And like Fruit Guy said, there are certain characters that you now need for 3v3. And if you don't have them, you're just locked out. A lot of the time, like if you don't have Malik and your opponent does, and your opponent just puts their Malik with their Darkside Bastila and Darth Revan on defense, you have to 2-team it. And sometimes that's not even good enough if they have like a Relic Malik. Like, I'm not a fan of things like 3v3 when you have wildly unbalanced matchmaking. And where you can argue that matchmaking is air quotes even, what happens when one person has 2 R7s and one person has 4 Gear 13s? The guy with the 2 R7s is probably going to win if they're good R7s and he just puts them on defense.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to see me struggle with a Relic 7 JKR, and a Relic 7 JKR, a Relic 7 Grandmaster Yoda, and a Relic 4 or 5 Bastila. So
Yeah, what we're gonna
sorry, Fergal. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to mention that 3v3 is kind of good in a way because it forces you to think about different strategies. Makes you think of different characters that are good in 3v3 that aren't necessarily as useful in 5v5, like Newt. However, if we don't have a game mode in which we use 3v3 constantly, it's just kind of to me something that dissuades me from playing 3v3 because it's I mean, okay, we got GA 3v3 for a month now.
Yeah.
What's that? 10% of the game, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. 10% of the GAs this year minimum, because it's one, is going to be because it's 4 weeks and 5 weeks. So there's 52 weeks and 5 weeks is 10%. So yeah, this 3v3 is 10% of this year.
Well, and also, I mean, I'm just saying, like 10% of the game that you play every day. I mean, considering everything else you do, there's nothing else that requires you to use 3v3.
Yep.
Not with your characters. I mean, ships is 3v3, but we'll just kind of disregard ships for now because
it's ships.
Yeah, it's ships. But when it comes to your characters, there's nothing that gets you any experience using characters in a 3v3 PvP or PvE mode, except for when they do it in GAC.
Yep.
So, and God forbid they ever do a 3v3 TW,
Well, I was gonna say, don't give them the idea to do a 3v3 TW because that's what
Please don't. Please, they
probably
had one
they tried doing that
planned.
before.
They tried doing that before, and
Yeah, they canceled it.
the reason they canceled
Yeah,
it was because
something
Malik.
about Malik being broken.
Yeah.
Something about Malik like absolutely breaking the game in 3v3.
Yeah.
And all the whale and a lot of the whale guilds are like, yeah, we're not gonna just have a pissing contest to see who has the most Maliks. Sorry.
That's what it
I mean, it has been kind of fun to see the Malik 3v3 team being two teamed. But it's you know, I don't know that I've seen many of them actually beat a decently geared and modded Malik in one shot, especially 3v3.
So the thing with
pantry.
the thing with Malik, like when I beat Malik in arena with CLS, the thing that like the X factor that actually kills Malik is being able to fracture him while Han and Chewie just like constantly beat on him like DPK does his wife. I'm sorry.
Wow,
That's not funny.
If you're
but
gonna
I
make
laughed
that,
really hard.
if you make that joke, at least make sure you're making the right joke. I don't beat my wife.
Oh, that's right, your kids. Sorry, that's right, your kids. I apologize. That's right.
It's his wife that whoops his ass.
That's right. Shoves things up his ass.
No.
Do you remember when he said he sleeps in a crate at night? Okay.
Oh, she's talking about doing. Oh, so it's gonna happen tonight. Ooh.
Before bed.
Yeah.
You're the one that's still dressed.
But no, I don't mind 3v3. I just think that there's a feel bad component, and I'm not a huge fan of any game mode that creates a feel bad moment. So the other thing is too, I would like 3v3 more if we did have more 3v3. Not for Grand Arena necessarily, but where else are we going to use 3v3?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's interesting because you get to see what works for you, because nobody's roster is the same.
To me, a 3v3 is a novelty that's kind of cool to do every once in a while.
It should not be done for a whole month.
I don't care about a month. I'm just saying in no way do I see 3v3 as being a competitive game mode, outside of the fact that I want to win because I want Zetas.
Yeah.
What I think would be kind of interesting is if they did a 3v3 arena mode. Not just being like one 3v3 team, have it be like anywhere from 2 to 4 that you have to field in 3v3 arena, and like you have to beat 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 of the teams to move up.
That sounds like way too much work.
That
sounds like an awful lot of battles to get into a payout or what if you make it.
Well, I was just say, I was just gonna say, do that with like. All right, I'll wait for your wife to be done. That's okay. We can wait.
Come look at him. He's so adorable.
Anyways, okay, we're good.
I think a good way to infuse 3v3 is to, how we've been talking about getting more galactic war. Make the hard mode 3v3. More specifically, 3v5. More specifically, 3v5. Right? You can take in 3 characters, they get 5.
Well, if you really wanted it a hard mode, it would be 3v3.
But what I'm saying is, if you want us to create these 3-man teams, make us... Okay, so you know how in Marvel Strike Force you have a cooldown timer? What if you could only use one team once, every team once a day? What? Just once, and it was 3v5. That would force you to create 3-man teams, a lot of them. I'm just trying to think of ways, clever ways for them to force us to build 3v3, 3-person teams. Because one of the reasons that Grand Arena keeps getting, I shouldn't say keeps getting, one of the reasons that it got turned on its head is because you went from winning is the only thing that matters to banners are the only thing that matters. That changed the way we built teams. And if you did something like that with like Galactic War, it would change the way we build teams. It would change the way we evaluate characters. It's like with Blitz. It's like how many 8.3 teams do you have in Strike Force? I have 6. I can hit auto on 8.3. That's basically what you would get in Swugga. How many teams do you have that can like beat that final node? And you can make it absurdly hard. Make it Relic 7. You have to fight against 5 Relic 7 characters, and you only get to use 3. I'm just using like an egregious example, right? But you can make it as hard as you want. Here is this Gear 13 Relic 7 Darth Revan team with Malik, and here's your three guys. You know, that would obviously that's a almost unbeatable scenario. But you don't have to make it that hard, right? All I'm trying to say is create a game mode where we have to care how our characters interact in 3s. Right now in 3v3, in these 4 weeks, we're going to barely scratch the surface on what's good. There is not enough time. We're getting 12 apiece. You know, we're not going to have enough time to actually figure out like all the intricacy. And that's one of the reasons why 3v3 like is the way it is. But what if we were forced to, whenever a new character come out, evaluate if it's good in 3v3? That would change the way the game is looked at. It would also give you the opportunity to give us rewards while still making it absurdly difficult for endgame players. How far can you make it in this like series of events, 3v5ing meta teams? I'll bet you we find some counters too.
Yeah.
How's that for a sandbox mode? That's not even hard to program.
That wouldn't be
That's
bad.
all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say is like you could easily instill a game mode that requires us to use 3, but not necessarily the AI. I think that'd be cool.
All right,
But
fellas. Well, I got to run.
All right, dude. It was great talking to you, dude.
See y'all next week.
Take it easy for guys.
Yep. But I do definitely agree with True Guy. I think that the fact that we don't use 3v3 anywhere else in this game, there's no incentive to gearing up characters for 3v3.
Oh, absolutely not.
There's no incentive to going full Theorycraft mode. So I think that's one of my I think that should be like the biggest takeaway from this is that if you want to keep 3v3 in a rotation in Grand Arena,
that's fine.
I personally would like you to implement it somewhere else in the game. But that's just me. I'm not a fan of 3v3 simply because I'm not a fan of checkmates. I'm not a fan, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not a fan of paywall checkmate. Like, back when Treya was kind of like a checkmate in Territory Wars, it was like, our guild isn't good enough to pass Heroic Sith, but that's on your entire guild, not you. So your guild would lose because your guild wasn't good enough. Not your guild would lose because one person, you know what I mean? Plus, like, when you're fighting against Darth Revan, when Darth Revan first came out, it didn't really affect my Territory Wars. We'd see 10 Darth Revans, we'd have 8. That just means we had to figure out how to beat 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, look at General Skywalker, he's the same way.
Yeah.
It's just when you're creating these things in 1v1 that are just insurmountable, like Darth Malak in 3v3, or when Jedi Revenant first came out in 1v1. When it came back to you had to basically 2v, you had to basically two-shot the team, unless you had God mods. Even then, like I was able to climb an arena through Jedi Revan because literally everyone could climb with Jedi Revan, and I was killing really badly modded Jedi Revans because I could kill because they were just slow. Not true with like Darth Revan and things like that. Like how fast you are, he's still going first.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I'm coming at for like for like CG to think about. Like you have to consider what you're doing to the player base with the game modes that you're introducing. And if you want us to commit to 3v3 and you want it to be a theory crafter's paradise, you need to make it. I'm not even saying you need to make it a staple of your game, but you need
Make
it
it
to
a
appear more
usable.
than just like yeah. Make the knowledge that we get from 3v3 usable outside of 3v3 Grand Arena.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
So I don't mean to pivot from Sorga because Sorga is just blossoming with a whole bunch of stuff. But I do want to talk about the playoff picture.
Yep.
Playoff
I'm good.
picture.
My team's the #1 seed in the AFC.
Yep, and they've clinched home field advantage.
Not throughout, but yes, they've clinched with a win or basically their magic number for a bye is 1. So if they win one of their last 2 games, they get a bye.
Nice.
And it's gonna be real hard for.
Or,
And
I'm
basically,
sorry, I
they'd
meant
have to lose.
they clinched a bye. That's right.
Yeah, they're gonna clinch a bye, and then on top of that, like they're gonna clinch home field probably because the next closest team is New England, and they already beat New England. So my Baltimore Ravens are gonna be the #1 seed in the AFC, and everyone's gonna have to come through M&T Bank Stadium. So I'm pretty pumped about the playoffs personally because of that. I preemptively made plans for the weekend of the wild card round, like 3 weeks ago. So I'd be like, really? That's the playoffs? I'm like, the Ravens will have a bye. I don't need to watch the first round.
Right.
I get to watch somebody beat the brakes off the cow. All that would happen is watch somebody beat the brakes off the Cowboys, the Vikings choke away a win, and the Packers somehow get a win because the referees make like 5 bad calls in a row in the fourth quarter. That's basically all I'd miss in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Nobody wants to watch the Texans play. Nobody wants to watch the Bills.
and hey, the Texans are a ton of fun to watch. Deshaun Watson's awesome. But I mean, and then the Chiefs are probably still the best team in the AFC, even though they don't have the best record. But man, it's the playoff picture is pretty much all in stone too. I think everybody who's in is like basically clinched.
Except for the Cowboys, because they're tied with the Eagles. Their conference record isn't as good as the Cowboys, but they have the same overall record. So
yeah, but I think they play the final week of the season.
Yes.
For the division.
No, they played this.
Oh,
Sunday.
okay.
Yeah, they played this. So they played this Sunday. This will determine the.
Okay. This will basically determine the division.
Yeah.
This is the time where the Eagles' backup quarterback comes in and takes them on a deep playoff run because Carson Wentz can't do it. Because Nick Foles is taking them on their 2 playoff runs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. My assumption is the Packers lose by about 10 to the Vikings. They haven't played well on the road this year, and every time they play a run-first team, they basically get browned, but not Cleveland browned because the Cleveland Browns aren't that bad this year.
Well, I was gonna say they're actually They have a shot for. They're in.
No, they
they're
don't.
in the hunt.
No, they're not. So, okay, they're listed as air quotes in the hunt. The Steelers basically have that spot rolled up.
Yeah, I know. The
If they-
Steelers
they-
aren't going to lose 2 games in a row, and the Browns
they'll
aren't going to
probably
win 2.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that they can't
They
make
play.
the playoffs. I'm just saying that it's highly unlikely.
So Cleveland, I believe, plays Baltimore, right? This
Yeah.
Sunday. So that's going
I
to be a
think so.
loss.
And then that pretty much clinches it for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This year doesn't really excite me as far as the playoffs go.
It
And it should, because the Patriots look very anemic on offense. So theoretically, it should excite me that they could be dethroned. But I don't know how to phrase this. Pretty much everybody in the entire league has looked bad, like real bad at times.
Uh-huh.
We don't have it, at least in my opinion, we do not have a team in the entire NFL who I think is like a front runner. And if I had to
absolutely.
pick a team, gun to my head, who's going to win the Super Bowl, it's still New England.
I mean, to be honest, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 teams that literally have the same. Right as 2 weeks left in the season, the same record. The Ravens have the best record in the league.
Yeah, we do.
But I'm sorry, 5th, because the Saints are 11-3. I forgot about them. Everybody forgets about the Saints. But you've got the Seahawks, you've got the Packers, you've got the 49ers, Saints, and the Patriots all having the same record. And that really says something, because it's not very often that you actually have that many teams with the same. And to be honest, all 5 of those teams, the Packers are probably the worst out of those 5 teams.
I'd give that to the Niners. I think the Packers are still better than the Niners.
I haven't really watched the Niners, so I just think the Packers have gotten really, really lucky. They can't close out a game, and that's going to bite them in the playoffs, plain and simple. Except maybe against the Vikings.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
because I mean this year they've kind of choked at the end of the game. They've had it in reach, and they just choke it.
Well, here's the thing though. Like, normally by this time of the year, we have a couple of teams that we think are playing the best football that they can play.
Oh yeah.
Except Cleveland just got their shit pushed in like a couple weeks ago by the Rams. And then the Rams just beat the brakes off the Niners. And the Rams aren't even going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Like, the Saints have had close losses, but their defense has looked real bad at times this year.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like TSA turnstile bad. People just walking through them. Green Bay just got, like, goose egg twice, basically, this year. Against the Chargers and against the Niners.
Yeah.
The Patriots should have beaten Kansas City, but the referees screwed them. But they've had no offense all year.
They really haven't. Tom Brady's numbers are average.
At best. Yeah, he hasn't had a great year. And then on top of that, the Ravens, who you could argue has been pretty much the best team all year. The first hard team that they played was the Chiefs, and they lost.
Yeah, that was the second or third week in the season?
So it was early in the season, yeah. But the other thing, too, is that as good as Baltimore has looked the last, I think they've won 8 in a row, they've stalled out. One of the downsides of being a run-heavy team is you get a lot of holding penalties, and those holding penalties will just kill your drive on the spot.
Yeah.
And thankfully, they played against enough bad teams where they just get to, roll you over early, and then the holding penalties don't matter in the second half. But I guess what I'm trying to say is every team in the league this year has looked atrocious.
Yeah.
At least
Like,
once.
I mean, the
And
Packers'
almost
offensive line is just absolutely horrendous. They against the San Francisco 49ers, I've seen more pancakes from TSA turnstiles than I had the Packers offensive line that week.
and that's the thing. Like, I think
Usually there's a pretty much almost defined. Hey, these two teams are gonna go.
yeah. Or there's teams that you think are front runners.
Right.
And all I'm trying to say is this year, I don't. As funny as this sounds,
I feel like there's two.
and
They're
I
too close.
I live in Minnesota, so this might come out as homerism. But honestly, I think the team that has played the most consistent all year, win, lose, or draw, and they've looked bad at times and they've looked good at times. But I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not saying that they're the best team. I'm just saying that like they've looked just as good as all the teams above them.
Yeah.
And they haven't quite had the lows as the teams above them. You know what I mean? If they've been more in the middle. I'm not saying they're better. I'm not saying that their best game is better than somebody else's best
they've been
game.
playing.
But they haven't laid any eggs yet this year.
Their hills and valleys aren't as steep as the others.
Yes, correct. Like they lost a close one to the Packers after two bonehead Cousins plays and after being down 21-0 early due to multiple turnovers.
Yeah.
And then the Packers didn't score the second half. And they ended up losing close.
They play a Monday night game this week.
Yes. So we might have to turbo. I don't know what time you get off work, but we have to turbo our GAC.
I might not. What I'll probably do is I'll just nix because I'm actually gonna watch that game.
That's what I'm saying. Like we can get our GAC done early, depending on what time you get off work.
Let me check Monday real quick on the calendar. Wait. Oh, so I'm off Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Oh, hot.
So, well, hot damn.
You want to knock it out right at 4?
Smack my sweet
knock it
ass
out
and
at 4.
call me Sally. Yeah.
Right. Let's knock it out at 4.
Yeah. Well. So yeah. We'll be. Yeah. That works. Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might
sweet.
have to do it in pieces, but no, I'm off Monday, so that's awesome. So yeah,
awesome. Because I kind of
no.
Damn it!
I kind of want to watch that game on VC with you,
dude. Yeah, that would be fun. I think I can.
I don't know what your plans are, but I mean, you can just hook your phone up.
Yeah.
Your phone has Discord.
Well, I have my computer too, so.
Well, yeah, but you can't. Oh, well, what are you watching the game on?
I was probably gonna watch it on my phone and then be in VC.
Oh, that's right. We don't get paid from this. We're not sponsored by them, but Yahoo Sports app. Watch NFL games wherever you are. We don't get a kickback, but
hey, Yahoo, make
anybody
this happen.
Hey, I'll take a couple bucks for every person we get to download the app or whatever. I don't care.
But
mostly this is a PSA to everyone who loves football that you can just watch you can watch nationally televised games for free through Yahoo Sports app. So
watching the game Monday.
That's awesome.
This very well could.
Shit, I forgot.
This could very well basically this probably.
Packers are in the playoffs.
Packers, yes, are guaranteed have guaranteed playoffs, but they play the Minnesota Vikings, which could determine the division. Could determine the division.
Will Vikings have a better conference record, and
you
if they finish the season,
be butting heads.
We're gonna watch it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a huge Vikings fan, but I do live in Minnesota, and I will absolutely represent the Minnesota Vikings in this.
Just because they're playing the Packers, though. And we all know
Well, yeah,
Dagger's first favorite team is the team playing the Packers.
No, it's the Ravens. Then whoever's playing the Steelers, then the Patriots, then the Vikings, and then whoever's playing the Packers.
What is it?
They're my 5th favorite team. But no, in all seriousness, though, like, if I cared, if I was a bigger Vikings fan, I'd put a Zeta on the game. But I don't care.
No, not with Jency coming back. No.
Yep, no, that's the other reason too. Like, I couldn't do that to you. I couldn't make you Zeta something that bad.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. I mean, I'll put a Zeta on Sabine and Ezra, but no.
But if the Packers play the Vikings or the Ravens in the playoffs, dude, we're putting a Zeta on the line.
So the only way the Packers would play the Ravens would be in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, well, sure. I'm just pointing out that, like,
if it
the
makes
Super Bowl's still part of the.
I won't do it with the Vikings. If the Packers and Ravens meet in the Super Bowl, I will put a Zeta on the line.
Oh, you're such a pussy.
I'm not putting a Zeta on the way the Packers have been playing. I'm not putting no.
Look at that! No balls! No balls! This is just no balls.
Call it what you will. Right now, the way the Packers have played this year, I have very little faith in them.
That's fair.
They have not been, like, even their offense, like, there was a couple really pretty passes between Rodgers and Devontae Adams, but you know what? But their offensive line has been absolute crap. And their defense they don't know how to finish out the game. We don't have a great pass rush. We don't have a good run stop.
Your pass rush is good. You just can't. Your pass rush is good. You just can't get up by 2 touchdowns. No, see, the problem is your pass rush is fine. You have the Smith brothers. You have Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. The problem is, in order for them to do their job effectively, you need to be up by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Which goes back to not being able to put the boot on the throat. Because they catch up, get within a score, and then they can still run the ball.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were talking about before, is that they aren't efficient at closing out games. They can run the ball for 3 quarters.
And that's it.
And then in the 4th quarter, Aaron Rodgers becomes relatively pedestrian. His stats look good, but he hasn't played that well in the 4th quarter this year. And I think I don't know why that is. I don't have a good reason. I don't have a good reason for it.
For a quarterback that's really thrived in the 4th quarter, that's staged some amazing comebacks. This year he's kind of fallen flat. I don't know if it's the new coaches or if the charisma between the whole team. I don't know, but his stats in the 4th quarter have really just been really flat. I don't have faith in them to close out a close game. Oh, shit, they almost didn't close out last week, and I don't even remember who they played. But
yeah, no, I definitely understand.
Oh, the Bears. They couldn't close out the Bears.
You can't close out Mitch Trubisky, who is like the worst quarterback in. I don't want to call him the worst quarterback in the league, because that might be unfair. But they actually had a 2-minute drill with Chase Daniels. Like, their backup quarterback is a better quarterback than their starter, and that's not me. That is their offensive efficiency and passer rating.
It's so true.
But outside of the Bears being a dumpster fire and the Lions having Stafford get hurt and then continuing to be the dumpster fire that they are, the Packers, thankfully, continue to get 4 free wins every year in the division, which to the Vikings will help them make the playoffs quite frequently. It's one of the reasons the Patriots have been good for 20 years. When you start your season 6-0, it's really easy to make the playoffs.
Yeah. When you're in the same division as the Bills, the Jets.
Well, the Bills are good this year,
Yeah,
but
they
yeah,
know they
traditionally the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins have not been very good as a group. And part of that has been because
when they
over the
had Darrell
years,
Revis, the Jets were good.
that was more about like more about like Bart Scott leading the defense,
yeah.
and
Well,
Matt Sanchez had a bunch of weapons.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sanchez had a bunch of weapons, and then wasn't the Rex guy, the coach,
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan. He was actually a relatively brilliant coach. Like,
Yeah, he was the Ravens defensive coordinator for like a decade.
yeah, like he was.
And then he brought the Ravens
wasn't
middle
he?
linebacker and Bart Scott along with him to New York.
I was gonna say, wasn't he the original defensive coordinator when
No.
Ray Lewis hit the league?
No. He was a couple after that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. No. But the Jets had a couple good years. The Dolphins had a couple good years early on in Tannehill's career. But generally, the problem with the teams in the AFC East they've been trying to beat the Patriots for 15 years. There's a couple problems with that.
Going on 20 years.
Well, for the first 5 years, it was the Patriots building the dynasty. But I get what you're saying. There's a couple problems with that, and some of them might not seem like huge problems. The first problem is you're trying to beat the Patriots instead of being the best you can be. So one of the reasons the Bills are good this year is that they're the best them they can be.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of going out and buying 2 defensive ends and trying to rush the passer like Miami did under Tannehill, they tried to go out and buy wins against the Patriots. And they tried to. But what I'm saying is they tried to go buy wins against the Patriots to make the playoffs that way instead of trying to. You can still go get those same talented players, but you want to build your team in a way where you can be the best you can be. And for a long time, the teams in that division never did that. And finally, over the last few years, they've started to.
I was
the Jets drafted Darnold.
The Bills have really, they put the pieces there, and they started building probably about 5-6 years ago. The Bills have slowly gotten a really nice young team around them. In the last 5 years, they've added the more veteran status to like their players, like Frank Gore going over there. That man is a frickin' monster. He's going on what, 16 years in the league, something like that.
I don't know.
He just moved up in the rankings in total yardage or something or another just the other week. But that's huge. You know, having someone like Frank Gore help, even if he is like starting and you have a backup, he's going to teach your new guy that's going to be replacing him, his backup. He's going to be teaching him things, and that's one thing I've kind of enjoyed with over the course of the Packers. They tend to in-home build up like wide receivers.
Yeah.
Donald Driver did it with Greg Jennings, who did it with Jordy Nelson, and who did it with Devontae Adams. You know, it's.
Did you turn my fan?
No. It's the trickle effect, and I've always stated this. You know, Jordy Nelson was one of the probably best route runners a player could be. He was deceptively quick and deceptively strong. He grew up on a farm in Kansas, and in the off season, he actually helped his mom and dad, mend the farm. So
hot take. Jordy Nelson was never good. Aaron Rodgers just trusted him.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Wes Welker left the league 3 years after leaving the Patriots. There's a reason why Jordy Nelson's garbage.
Better in this than I could my other one.
Well, and that's so. The reason Jordy, or there was so much trust in Jordy, is because he was where he needed to be in the route at the exact time Aaron Rodgers was needing him to be. And that's what I mean about being a solid route runner. Wes Welker, amazing player. Yes, a little bit of the Jordy being good is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's the same. It's the same argument you can make about Adam Thielen for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Physically, there's nothing spectacular about him. Athletically, there's nothing spectacular about him.
Before you come to bed, I want you to go fix Callie.
Yeah, it's.
Yikes! Gonna go fix a kid? Wow.
It's a little early for fixing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you got to give him a chance to procreate before that.
But
parents shouldn't get to decide that.
Well, we've been talking for an hour and a half, so it's 10:30. I've got work in the morning.
Dude.
So we're gonna call it a night. We will be live tomorrow night with our GAC finals, baby. Woo!
Yes.
And
Perfect.
you guys all have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Good night, TV Land.
We'll see you on the holotables.